This week, I'm excited to be joined by Duval, owner of Valued Productions, a company that focuses on video strategy and videography services. We just had a great conversation. He brings great energy and knowledge to videos, how it impacts your business, how it can lead to results. I think you'll really enjoy it. This is the Randy Forcier podcast. If you can do me a favor, subscribe on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram. I would really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for all your support and for listening. So, Graham, I know you from networking and BNI, see your stuff all over the place. You're in video productions. I wanted to have you on the podcast to talk about that and a bunch of other things. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Definitely, dude. Before we talk about your business, I want to learn a little bit about your background. Where are you from? What did you do before you opened your company? Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I grew up in Maine. I mean, I wasn't born here, but I moved here when I was a youngin', like second grade or whatever.
Yep.
But I grew up here, So when I was in high school, I wanted to be in film productions. And so I went into that a little bit right out of high school into college, but I ended up getting steered into the music realm. So I actually come from a music background. I've been playing the drums for 25 years. I did that whole side of things, like touring, released albums, that whole side of stuff. All while still doing video production for all the bands I was in, and that whole kind of starving artist thing, work Joe jobs and stuff. I ended up going back to school at Berkeley for music business because I was like, I have all this performance side down, and so I went back to music business to kind of like, okay, I'm getting older. How are we going to make this music thing like a more viable thing, and took a few classes on video production while in school, and it reignited that same passion that I had for film production back when I was right out of high school. Yep. And, I graduated and was like, okay, I can either start a job like from the low end of the totem pole right out of college in the music business, or I can start my own business for this film production, which I love. And so that's kind of the story of how I got into what I was doing and what I was doing before this. So a little melding of both worlds.
That's pretty cool. I didn't realize the whole music side of things, and hopefully we can get back to that. But how did you go from Berkeley back to Maine, though? You just decided it made sense where you grew up, so I'm going to move back here and start my business here as opposed to out there?
So this is Berkeley, Boston.
Okay, that makes more sense, actually.
Berkeley, Boston, not Berkeley, California. And so I was living in the Seacoast area, and so like I was back and forth here, and some life stuff happened, and it was time to kind of get down to the grindstone, and that's what kind of led me back to school, because I was like, okay, this starving artist thing is not getting me anywhere, you know what I mean? And so I went back to school, and since I grew up here, that's where I settled.
Totally.
I'm in Auburn, by the way. So
Lewis in Auburn. Okay, I was going to ask you about that. If that is that where you went to high school? Like, is that where you grew up when you moved to Maine? Lewis, that area?
Auburn, graduated St. Dom's.
Yep.
And so it's been nice here in Lewis and Auburn, because like I left because the economy wasn't as good, there wasn't as many things to do here in town as there are now. And now the economy's gone great.
Totally
great place to start a business, I'd say.
Yeah. Southern Maine, anything Lewis and Auburn South is booming right now. That's what I found in my business as well. So I think I messaged you the other day because I saw that it had been your 1-year anniversary at Valued Productions.
Yes.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
So Valued Productions is VALUD.
Correct.
Which is a shuffle of the letters of your last name.
That is correct. Yes. That is a shuffle of the letters. And I don't know if you can see on my thing, since I come from a music background, there's actually a music note on the tail end of my logo as well.
Love it. So tying in some history. What type of music did you play at the time?
I am more of like an improvisational type person.
Sure.
I like to jam. I'm a big Fish fan, so that type of music.
Love it. So it's been a year.
Yes.
What type of video production do you focus on? Is there one thing that you specialize in? Is it pretty broad? Tell me about it.
Yeah, that's a great question. So video production for me is actually more of a vessel that gets to where we need to go. So I consider myself a video strategist. Yep. And the video production side of it is actually the vessel of what we use to get to the goals that we're trying to reach. So yep. That is like kind of what sets me apart from other video professionals, is that a lot of video professionals will just hand you a video and like, okay, here's a nice video. But we actually work on the strategy side of how we're going to use this video, gather the right information, put it in front of the right eyeballs, and create a distribution strategy that's actually going to get it seen and help you get the results that you're looking for.
What's an example of a result? I assume social media is a big one for people. I'm trying to think of other things, but like social media, is it just like trying to get a certain amount of views, or trying to produce a minute-long clip about my business, or what are some examples?
So results can vary. So for example, there's results in the sense that I did a video for a client of mine. She's actually in my chapter, Trinity, and her results from, usually when I do videos, it's usually a series of videos and like videos working together to help reach goals. But we did one video, and the results we had is that her sales team had a contest that the winner of the contest got to be the featured person in the video about their business. And yep. So it drove them to make way more sales because they were vying for that spot in the video. So that would be an example of an increased sales because of using video. So that's one example. That's
totally different than what I was thinking. I was just thinking social media stuff, but that's like a outside of that realm kind of goal, which is great. Exactly. It sounds like it worked well for what they were looking for.
Exactly. And that's definitely an outside of the box thinking type one. But like the other types of things is, when you have a bunch of videos on social media, you can use them and strategically use video to drive brand awareness. And then you can gauge like, okay, today I started posting videos consistently. And then for so long, what was the increase in traffic into our store after doing these amount of videos? Yeah. Or were we driving people to the website and then saw an increase in sales because we started doing that? So
that makes a ton of sense.
It's definitely a lot more than just like, okay, how many likes can we get? How many plays can we get? It's like, how can we get this business to actually see a significant change based on using video production to get there? Yeah,
makes a ton of sense. So I assume it's a lot of like shorter videos.
Yeah, we do a lot of short form content. That's a big part of my business right now is micro content. Because I mean, we live in a world where even 6 months ago, to post a video to Facebook, Instagram, and all those social platforms, you'd have to have a specific formatted size video. And now you can post one vertical video across all the platforms. And so that's a lot of eyeballs, you know what I mean? And so if you're consistently doing that, it has great results.
So who's an ideal client for you? A business owner?
Yeah.
It starts with like a business owner, not like an individual, but like someone that's in business for themselves and trying to achieve one of these goals.
Correct. I work very closely with businesses, anybody, lawyers, home builders. I work well in the health and beauty world. I've got a bunch of clients in that world as well. So business owner looking to see that you can get a return on your investment from using videos to do your marketing.
Are you working with a lot of people that it's their first time doing videos, right? Like I still feel like there's, even with myself, it's not something I've really done a lot outside of filming myself, like just kind of introducing the whole idea of videos to people?
Yeah, definitely. I actually have a lot of my clients are like that. And I think right now in Maine, there is a huge opportunity for that because not a lot of people are using videos in this manner. And so if you are the ones who can harness that market share first, you have a huge opportunity to then lead the pack, so to say, in this realm, especially coming into 2023. It's the way things are going.
Love it. Now, would you consider some longer form content?
Most definitely. They're like an ideal video strategy consists of short form content and long form content, because you can solve pretty much any business's problem with a healthy balance of both, where you're driving extreme brand awareness with your shorter form content, which leads people then to, say, your website or something where you may have a longer form piece of content like what we're doing right here, or a brand message video, some testimonial videos. And that's where you're going to see the conversions, where like the short form content is just great for eyeballs. Get that brand awareness out there. Let people know who you are. You're showing up in people's feeds, things like that.
Yep. Now, would you ever consider doing a wedding? Or is that something, a market that you're trying to stay away from and would be happy to hand off to someone else?
I do weddings. Not like pushing it. I've done a few weddings. I'm working with some people right now to actually kind of be a go-to person for some video stuff, because my goal, as you had mentioned earlier, I'm a year-old business now, and my goal is to be more of like an overarching video agency. And so if I can get those clients and do all sorts of types of video production, then I'll be able to have that all under one roof.
Okay. How about growth opportunities? Like, so weddings come to mind first, then obviously the short form stuff that leads to the long form stuff. But is there another avenue that you're thinking about trying to expand into in the years to come that maybe I'm not even aware exists?
Not
commercial stuff, maybe?
There is opportunities for that. I do like to be a place of solutions for my clients. So like, there is a lot of opportunities, and I have a couple people that are preferred partners. If we want to go more of that like commercial television style route, we can offer that. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of target available, and the results that you can drive just from social media is amazing.
It's amazing. It's awesome. So in the past year, have you learned a lot as a business owner outside of the video production stuff? Has that been a steep learning curve for you?
It's been a pretty decent learning curve for sure. Yeah. Definitely, it's all about balance. Work-life balance is key. One of my biggest struggles is shutting down in the evening, because I could go till I literally can't go anymore. And so
you set up at your home, I assume?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, same here behind me. It's easy to be working all night long if I could.
Most definitely. And then just like learning the ups and downs of business. And I did feel fairly prepared, because in school, the underlying curriculum, even though it was for music business, the goal was creative entrepreneurship. They drove that in a lot. So I felt fairly prepared. So it's been a good amount of learning for sure.
Do you have any advice for people that maybe were in your same shoes a year or two ago, thinking about doing what you've done, maybe that you would have done differently, or anything you've learned?
Most definitely. I mean, my biggest piece of advice is to just do it, finding ways to get rid of those limiting beliefs, because I 100% believe that everybody has the capabilities to go out there and do whatever it is they want to do in life. So if you want to start a business and find ways or people or education or different avenues that can help build you up in that. Because that's what I did a lot of, is like, I didn't know something, I either found someone who knew how to do it to teach me, or got someone else to do it that still was like within line with what I was doing, partnering essentially, So that's like my biggest thing, is overcoming limiting beliefs. It's hard though, don't get me wrong. I have that same struggle myself sometimes, but it's a daily practice. And just go out and do it, because the world is your oyster. Someone told me that when I first came into BNI. They're like, the world is your oyster, and I was like, I love it.
There you go. It's funny how many times I've heard that same advice since I've been doing the podcast, and it's from all kinds of different people in different businesses, BNI or not BNI. And I think it's just it's advice that will stand the test of time. And I'm sure I'll hear it a million more times as long as I'm doing the podcast. Just do it. You'll figure out the issues as you're going. You'll overcome them. You might mess up some stuff, but you'll definitely learn from it and keep moving forward. So it's amazing how many people do get paralyzed by things though, and never take that first step. So I guess that's what separates people that are successful from people that aren't.
100%. It can definitely be very paralyzing, but make it like what you offer here with the podcast and like the the motivation that it can provide, and like finding things like that for people to listen to, and the content to boost that motivation is a big help.
Definitely, dude. How helpful has BNI been for you?
Oh man, that is like a game changer. I was like 3 months into the business, and I had tapped into all the like friends of friends and friends of family and like all that type of thing. And it's actually kind of funny story. Someone mentioned, have you ever heard of BNI? And I was like, BNI? I never heard of it. And so then the next day, a BNI ad popped up on my Facebook feed. And I was like,
Phone's listening to you, dude. It's always listening to us.
And I'm like, this is exactly what I do. I put my ads in front of people that are, you know what I mean? And I'm like, this is perfect. I need to go find this out. You know what I mean? And so I went and visited, and it's been like probably like 80% of my business so far since starting. And just in the past couple months, I've started to kind of branch out a little bit more from the BNI world.
Yeah, which is good though. I find that your business is probably something that a lot of the membership would embrace. You know, I think a lot of people in the groups, you know, in the number of different BNI chapters want to incorporate video into their business. So I think it's a great fit for you. And I saw you did the gala, right? You were filming that. So it sounds like some good connections have been made.
Yes, indeed. BNI has been a blast. And that's another piece of advice I would give any business owner. If you're looking to grow your business, definitely check out BNI, because that is the way to go.
I sometimes think that people that listen to this podcast must be like, man, these guys, all they do is talk BNI. But I tend to have a lot of BNI members on here because I just network with a lot of people that are in business for themselves and end up talking to me about their business. And inevitably BNI comes up. And I've been an advocate for 7 years. It's had a huge impact on my business. So it's always nice to have people come in and reiterate that, because I think it is important for people that are looking to grow their business. I think you can get so much further with other people's support than you can on your own. I think that's what BNI is all about.
And it's kind of funny. Like I always say, like the two best things that you need to grow your business, BNI and video marketing.
There you go. Boom. Love it. How about challenges for you? What's the biggest challenge for you in your business right now?
That's a tough one. I think the biggest, so I try to look at challenges as learning opportunities. And some of the learning opportunities that I've been facing lately comes to like, so I just mentioned that I'm kind of branching out a little bit more from BNI and getting sales in a different way. And so like the not as warm girls or sales conversations and whatnot, those have been a little bit more challenging, because learning a little bit more about sales psychology and how to conduct a sales meeting that is a little bit more persuasive than maybe if someone is getting a referral and it's like, okay, now we can just kind of talk a little further from a little bit more of a warm referral. So I think that has been one of my biggest challenges lately, is kind of overcoming the prospecting on a not from referral based sources.
I feel like there's skills that you can learn to improve at that stuff too. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. Build up a comfort level and can definitely improve. So
yeah, no, for sure. And that's kind of like how I try to keep my mindset, is like, if there's something that's making me feel uncomfortable, that's where I know that I have places I can learn from. And that's just been the way I've lived my life and grown my business, is like, when something starts to feel uncomfortable, I got to find ways to get comfortable with that uncomfortableness. And then essentially that goes away. And then the next thing that I feel uncomfortable doing pops up. And then it's like, oh, okay, now what?
Totally. I mean, I think of this podcast when I started, I mean, I wasn't super comfortable with it. It's still a little bit of an uncomfortable situation sometimes. But it's like, I was like, let's just do it and see what happens. And
I love it, man. I think you do a great job. It's so cool.
Yeah, no, I'm pumped about it, man. I'm actually glad to have you on, because what's funny is we've only met in person for like a second at that gala. Yeah. We just kind of connected through BNI, but always probably some Zoom things. So I think it's cool how something like this is a way for me to connect with people in ways that I wouldn't otherwise, and just learn about them and spread the word on what they do. And so ton of cool benefits about it.
Yeah, I think it's great. And this is just another another example of using video and audio and content in general to help build awareness. And I think that's so amazing.
And I'm going to look forward to us to getting together outside of this for a one-to-one. One-to-one is BNI lingo, but we'll have to make that happen, because I definitely want to dig in with you a little bit more, maybe for my business. When you say you're marketing outside of BNI, what does that mean for you? Is there like other avenues that are good for you that would apply to other businesses, or how's that work?
So basically what I've been doing is I've set up a lead generation machine through video marketing. So essentially I'm running ads on Facebook, and I have a bunch of different ads, and people can click on them, and then I capture their information, and it shows that they've got a little bit of interest, but it's not like someone giving you a referral.
Those are leads at that point. We have the same type of thing in our business. Doesn't mean you can't get business from it, but like you said, it's just a different thing than a warm referral. You have to work for a little bit more.
Most definitely.
Does the geography matter that much? I mean, I assume that it does, because you do want to do stuff shooting in person, but I guess, is there a way to work with someone remotely from a distance, or no?
Well, most definitely. I actually do offer, so like a lot of the micro content stuff can be done remotely. So whereas I'll essentially coach you onto building a virtual studio that you can just film film your pieces after we've scripted and everything, and then I take it, edit it with all the text and emojis and the B-roll and all that good stuff, and then post it. So that's about the only side of things that can be done remotely. But geography really isn't an issue for me. I've got clients in Bangor. I mean, I'm based in Lewiston, Auburn, so I've got clients in Bangor, down to Portland, and we're talking with someone right now in New Jersey. So it's
I'll be interested to see how you can expand from that point of view. You know?
Yeah. I'm curious myself, and I try to, it's all about letting go and taking it as it comes, and putting in the hard work, and one day at a time, man.
When you do the ads, like this lead generation machine you're talking about, doing different ads, that's a thing that isn't necessarily tied to video production. And the idea of strategies for ads on social media, SEO, that sort of stuff. Is that something you've kind of taught yourself over time, or do you lean on someone to help you with that stuff?
Yeah, so SEO, I don't do too much of. I have more preferred partners for, but running the social media stuff, I've taken coaching. I've got a coaching program that I'm working with right now. Taught a lot of it myself. And then, like with anything with marketing, it's all about testing and seeing what's performing well. So and Facebook, I mean, it gives you great analytics anyway. So you can see how it's performing, and it's like, okay, this video is definitely not performing. Let's get rid of it. So
you're kind of by trial almost.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm interested in personally. And I've done a little bit of testing stuff, and I kind of know what you're talking about, but I wasn't sure if there was someone specifically that you work with. So that's cool. I mean, it's not like it's something you can't do on your own and try. I was just curious if you did or not.
It's definitely not something you can't do on your own, but there is definitely a strategy to it to actually get your results. Otherwise, you get bogged down in Facebook's and so. But I have a couple preferred partners that I work with. I'm working with a coach that is specifically geared for that type of stuff, and so.
Love it. Love hearing about all your success, man. Keep it up.
Appreciate it.
And before I let you go, are you playing music still in a band, or are you?
I am, most definitely. Yeah, we're actually playing a show on January 21st at the Quarry Tap Room in Hollowell.
Love it.
At 9 o'clock. So if anybody's listening and feels like coming out, Quarry Tap Room, January 21st, come on out. It should be a good time.
Dude. Are you looking to expand your show schedule throughout the year, or is that just one random thing?
It's kind of on the back burner for now. I mean, music is my passion, and so it would be nice to get back to a level where I can have this business running a little bit more on autopilot with less as much of the grind, that I can then take some of the weekends to play more shows and stuff. But I mean, I love what I do. I get to make videos and play music, and so it's fun.
Love it, man. Love the energy you bring. I appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. I'll be sure to spread the word on the business. What's the best way to find you guys?
So I am on valuedproductions.com, VALUD productions.com. I'm on all the social platforms. Instagram is the same thing, Valued Productions. Go follow us on Instagram. Same thing with TikTok, Valued Productions. Also on LinkedIn, my name, Graham Duval. I'd love to connect with you all on LinkedIn. find me on the social platforms. I'm all about connecting. So
Totally.
I'd love to talk with more people.
I'll be sure to share that stuff too. So I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, Randy.
We'll do it again.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, brother. Take care.
We'll see ya.